When you give formal performance feedback, it needs to be structured, and therefore you need to follow a process. So in this video, I will give you a simple 8-step process for how to give formal performance feedback. The first stage of a performance feedback session is to state the purpose of the meeting, to set the context. And of course, as part of that, there has to be that little bit of informal meet and greet, because you are both human beings and we work best when we strengthen the relationship before we have a conversation. The second step is to describe what you have observed, being as specific as you can and giving examples so that people can understand precisely what that feedback is. Now, an alternative way of doing step 2 is to ask the person that you're there to give feedback to start off by sharing their impressions and what they think you will have observed. That way they can self-measure and get better at self-measuring when you give your feedback, and they can benchmark their answers against yours. Third, describe the consequences of continuing on the path they're on, continuing the behaviour that you've observed. What are the consequences for them, and what are the consequences for the organisation? The fourth step is to describe how you feel about your observations and the impacts they're going to have. Obviously, if you're doing non-judgmental feedback, you're not going to bother with this step because it would be inappropriate. Now it's time in step 5 to hand over to the person you're giving feedback to. Listen to their perspective. Let them ask their questions. Let them state their opinions and their understanding of what you've observed. And of course, this is going to turn into a dialogue as you ask them questions, hopefully questions that are designed to enhance their awareness and understanding of their performance. Step 6 comes when you're both clear that the performer has understood the feedback that you've given and its consequences. Now it's time for you to help them to decide on the right actions to take. What are the choices they need to make, and what changes are they going to make as a result of your feedback? The end of this step comes as you help them to turn the conversation, their choices and their decisions and the steps they're going to take into a plan. At step 7, we need to summarise the conversation. In particular, you would focus your summary on 2 things. 1, endorsing your support for the person you've given feedback to, particularly if that feedback has been challenging or critical in any way. And secondly, to reinforce your support for them in following up on the actions that they've agreed to take. Importantly, acknowledge what they've achieved and thank them for their engagement and participation in the conversation. Step 8 is to make sure you follow up on the conversation. This could be something as simple as an email afterwards, reiterating your thanks and reminding them of the actions that they've agreed. Or it could be a series of follow-up steps as you support and guide and coach them through taking the steps that they've agreed in the plan that you created at step 6. Everything works better when you have a simple process to follow that has been tried and tested, and these 8 steps will make a performance feedback conversation go really well. Please do give us a thumbs up if you like this video. I'll be creating loads more great management courses content, so please do subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of it. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. In the meantime, keep learning.